Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to News of Thanh Television. I'm Phương speaking from Thanh Hóa. On February 2nd, Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee, Chairman of the Provincial People's Council Đỗ Trọng Hưng, and his working delegation inspected the work of the COVID-19 pandemic prevention and control in some areas in Thanh Hóa City. Secretary Đỗ Trọng Hưng and his delegation checked the epidemic prevention and control at Thanh Hóa Lung Hospital. This is the first live provincial hospital for COVID-19 treatment with 100 to 500 beds, depending on the disease levels. He highly appreciated the efforts of officials, physicians, and medical staff of Thanh Hóa Lung Hospital in ensuring safety of medical examination and treatment and implementing tasks of treating COVID-19 patients. Emphasizing on unpredictable development of the epidemic and with a spirit of anti-epidemic-like anti-enemy, the Secretary requested healthcare staffs of Thanh Hóa Lung Hospital to raise the sense of responsibility to protect patients and their families, to well implement regulations on disease prevention, proactively prepare conditions and equipment, update new knowledge, new instructions from functional agencies to prevent and treat patients in general and the COVID-19 ones in particular effectively. The Secretary and the delegation inspected at Xuân Mai Apartment, Đông Hương Wholesale Market, Big C Supermarket, Northern Bus Station. He evaluated that the epidemic prevention and control measures were deployed quite well. The Secretary requested all the units firmly should grab on situation of people and vehicles from other provinces to Thanh Hóa, especially when Tết Lunar New Year is approaching, promoting propaganda for people to raise awareness and take initiative on epidemic prevention. Working with Thanh Hóa city leaders, after listening to the city leaders reporting on the epidemic prevention situation right after getting information about the COVID-19 infection in the province of Quảng Ninh, Hải Dương, Secretary Đỗ Trọng Hưng requested the City Party Committee and authorities to focus on drastic, synchronous, and thorough direction to implement epidemic prevention and control measures in accordance with the direction of the central and provincial government and recommendations of the Ministry of Health. He also suggested to strictly take disciplinary actions to the party committee and local authorities without signs of neglect, not strictly implementing epidemic prevention and control measures. Along with that, the city must continue to promote propaganda for people to have a sense of self-awareness, to prevent the epidemic, to organize events according to epidemic prevention requirements. The Secretary believes that with the fires, synchronous and creative actions, Thanh Hóa City will continue to be one of the leading units with the whole province to control the COVID-19 epidemic well for people, to welcome it and will perform socio-economic development tasks from the first day, the first month of 2021. On the morning of February 2nd, Deputy Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee, Chairman of the Provincial People's Committee, Head of the Steering Committee for Provincial COVID-19 Prevention, Đỗ Minh Tuấn, chaired the meeting on COVID-19 prevention plan before, during and after Lunar New Year 2021 in Thanh Hóa Province. Facing very complicated development, the risk of epidemic outbreaks in localities, including Thanh Hóa, is very high. Right after returning from the 13th National Party Congress, Chairman of the Provincial People's Committee Đỗ Minh Tuấn convened an emergency meeting to deploy measures to prevent epidemics, assuring people to welcome the new year and implement economic development goals. Chairman Tuấn emphasized, recently, Thanh Hóa has implemented synchronously, drastically, and effectively measures to prevent COVID-19, so we are still in good control of the epidemic. There are no cases of infection in the community. However, these are only initial results. The risk of spreading COVID-19 epidemic in the community is very high. Emphasizing the danger of the new variant virus strain SARS-CoV-2 with a fast spread rate. Chairman Tuấn asked, although the epidemic is complicated, we must have active coalitions. The whole political system must involve in the fight against epidemic with the motto, drastic, urgent, not negligent, subjective, keep calm, proactive, and not bewildered. Believe in the direction the party committee, authorities, and the steering committee for epidemic prevention at all levels. Chairman Tuấn emphasized that The party committees, authorities and steering committees at all levels must continue to seriously and effectively implement epidemic prevention measures. Any localities where the disease outbreak or spread in the community occurs, the head of the party committee, the authority of the locality, will be responsible to the provincial standing committee. Chairman Tuấn also suggested the community monitoring team and the people raised their responsibility, working together with the party committee and authorities to prevent epidemics. Chairman Tuấn directed relevant functional departments to restart the operation of quarantine posts on the gateway and key traffic routes, requesting compulsory mask wearing when leaving the house, sanctioning violations, not organizing festivals, events that gathering mass, only hold conferences with under 30 people, other cases must report to authority, and ensure absolutely safety. Chairman Tuấn also suggested the groups and large enterprises investing in Thanh Hóa to support localities in epidemic prevention work. The mass media should promote communication on epidemic prevention, timely, accurately information on the epidemic situation, avoid causing confusion in public opinion. All levels, sectors, localities, people, and the business community continue to work together and unanimously successfully realize the dual goals, ensuring health safety for the people and maintaining socio-economic development. In spite of being influenced by the COVID-19 pandemic, from the beginning of the year until now, the export activities in Thanh Hóa province still has many positive signals. Export value has increased over the same period. Many enterprises have signed long-term orders. Number of orders from traditional markets has also increased. These are favorable conditions for enterprises to boost the export of goods in 2021. In the first days of New Year 2021, the production atmosphere in this textile export company is very bustling. The workers are urgently completing the short orders. The leader of the company said that after months of interruption by the COVID-19, the US, EU, and South Korean markets have been connected again. Orders have been short for 3 months, 6 months, and for the whole year of 2021, answering stable job for employees. According to Thanh Hóa Department of Industry and Trade, in January 2021, the total export value of the whole province has estimated at $332.4 billion, up 22.7% over the same period in 2020. In January, export activities of enterprises in the province have seen many positive signals. Items with an increase in output over the same period last year, such as garments, up 28.3%, shoes increased by 11.3%, paving stone increased by 8.3%, seafood increased by 2%. Not only having growth in export value, export market structure in the province has also had positive changes. Orders from some traditional markets such as the US, EU, South Korea, and Japan have shown signs of rebound. Many enterprises have well-applied economic and trade agreements to explore and expand export markets. In addition to these advantages, Thanh Hóa export activities are still heavily influenced by the COVID-19, making some fields to face difficulties. Export turnover heavily depends on machining, such as garment, footwear. The export agricultural, forestry, and aquatic products are mainly raw materials. The export value is not high. To achieve the target of exporting goods in 2021 to reach $4 billion, Thanh Hóa industry and trade sector is continuing to propagate and support businesses to take full advantage of own preferences of side trade agreements to expand market, encouraging and promoting enterprises to innovate production technologies, focus on tea processing and direct export to increase the export value of goods. After being facilitated by the local authorities to consolidate land, Mr. Nguyễn Quý Linh in Thọ Phật Village, Đông Hoàng, Kham Đông Sơn District, has converted more than 3 hectares from inefficient rice cultivated land to grow ornamental trees for Tết. In this Tết holiday, his family is expected to earn about 1 billion Vietnam dong from selling ornamental plants. In these days, the farmer Mr. Nguyễn Quý Linh family, Thọ Phật Village, Đông Hoàng, Kham Đông Sơn District, is always crowded with people to buy peaches and kumquats. Mr. Lazy Tuk, a peach trader, is a familiar customer of the farm. Every year, he comes to his farm to buy peaches and then supply the market. According to Mr. Nguyễn Quý Linh, 3 hectares of these ornamental plants used to be paddy land. When the locality had the policy of accumulating land, converting crops, in addition to the family's land, he hired more land from other households. Initially, he converted a part of land to grow medicinal plants and another part to grow ornamental plants. Then, realizing that ornamental plants give more economic value, he changed the whole area to plant peaches and kumquats. In this state, Mr. Linh has 1,000 peach trees and 3,000 kumquat trees to supply to the market. In which, many trees are planted from 3 to 4 years. According to Linh, to grow ornamental plants, it is important to constantly learn. Currently, the price of kumquat and peaches in the garden of Mr. Nguyễn Quý Linh is from 400,000 Vietnam dong to 1 million Vietnam dong per tree. Especially, some peach trees cost tens of millions Vietnam dong. The farm's income is estimated at 1 billion Vietnam dong. Knowing the demand for ornamental plants, Mr. Linh also finds and buys old peaches for cropping to create high-value peach trees. This is also a way to increase farm income every year. This information has wrapped up our news today. Thank you for watching us and see you next week.